Hello and welcome. This is Joe Holbrook. I'm with Tech Commanders. I'm really excited that you're here to join in for the Certified Cloud Pre-Sales Cloud Solutions Architect session here on Zoom. Now, I'd like to spend a few minutes and do a quick introduction and talk about why this certification is important and how you can benefit from the certification as well. Now, this specific certification has been specifically licensed from Tech Commanders and has been also developed by Tech Commanders. And with that said, we want to make sure that you understand what the cert's all about, why it's important, and how you as a pre-sales or solutions architect can benefit from this certification. Now, another thing too that comes into play here that are on the market. They're either very specific vendor related, like if you work for a partner, they'll be really detailed towards their specific product and services. But there's also third party as well, like the pre-sales collective. And even though their certs are great as well, they're not really targeted per se for this type of audience, where we want to make sure that if you want to go out and get a job as a new pre-sales architect or engineer, that you at least have not only the technical merits, but also the people skills and the financial skills that typically you're going to run into as a pre-sales solutions expert. So with that said, there's just so many things to really talk about here, and I'm going to try to make this as short as possible so that you could go ahead and get back to what you're doing and hopefully prepare to take the certification exam as well. Now, as far as the training itself, the training is about 6 hours total, and you could certainly get it done in one day and pass the exam. Again, this is meant to be an introductory certification. And with that said, what is this really all about? Now, I won't read all this to you, but the goal is that you'll have a designation that is going to be focused on solutions engineering with the pre-sales focus around specifically cloud computing. And that's another differentiator because a lot of the pre-sales certs are really more for IT and vendor focus. So this is cloud agnostic, meaning that it's not focused on a specific cloud. However, we do discuss certain things that you want to know about each of the cloud platforms at a high level. But from a test point, I don't test you on those, nor will they test you on it. So the main objectives will be really around customer management, customer acquisition, enterprise support, sales engineering proficiency, and also financial skills as well. Now, the certification is valid for 3 years, and there will be CEU requirements set up here in the next few months so that in the next 2 or 3 years, you want to renew it, it'll be fully renewable with just the CEUs. Now, as far as the training, it's really broken down into each objective area. So basically, these are domains as I refer to them here. So domain 1 is customer management. Domain 2 is sales engineering. And then domain 3 would be sales and financial skills. And then there's also additional practice questions that are available as well. So when it comes to learning reinforcements, this specific course is, again, really focused at that introductory level. It's more about why you want to use a cloud, how you use it, how you work with customers to make sure that they can understand where the cloud fits in, and how you as a sales professional in reality, more technical, of course, will be able to translate requirements that make sense for your customer base. Now, the learning reinforcements are really meant to provide you scenarios to review, whiteboard discussions, also demos as well. However, this certification, again, is not going to be hands-on cloud per se. And what I mean by that is you're not going to need to know how you spin up a virtual machine or how you go into AWS and deploy AWS Redshift or anything. So that's not the goal of this certification. Okay, so what is this cert going to help you with? The goal is to help you really hit above the belt, as I like to say. So if you're into boxing or fighting, this is a great way for you to really understand what it really means. You want to be able to go into that job interview, that potential role that you're in, and be able to provide them some level of basically validation that you are able to master the baseline requirements of a typical cloud pre-sales role. Now, as far as my experience, so I've been in the IT industry for over 25 years. Now, I have typically, again, a really well-rounded background in both post and pre-sales. So what that really means is I understand if you're already working in an IT role and you're doing technical account management or project management. So I get it. I've been there. But I've also been on the front lines working for specific vendors, whether it's VMware partners or federal integrator partners. I sort of get it. So what I'm getting at here is I have a wide amount of experience, and the goal was, again, to make sure that you go into your new role learning as much as possible and being able to have that baseline to be successful. Okay, so as far as, again, why you should take this, so let's go ahead and talk about some of the top reasons. So I recommend you take this specific certification is, again, you want to be challenged. Now, of course, the course, if you take the full course, which is available on several platforms to really help get you enabled, I'd recommend, again, that you take the official course so you understand all the objectives, that you have the baseline already to pass the exam on the first try. Now, as far as what exactly is a CCPSA, it's listed here. I won't read it all to you. So what are the domains? So domain number 1, domain number 2, and domain number 3 are listed here. What I'd like to do is take a quick minute, and I'm going to go ahead and just bring you up to the specific page that will have all of the information that you would need to find out about the specific exam. But also, too, listed here is a free ebook, the exam objectives, and also the course content. So you don't have to pay for a course to take the exam. You'll have the baseline. It's free. Again, my goal is to just get people certified, not make money on the course. So what I'm getting at here is a lot available. Now, there is a free ebook available, and this ebook is, again, going to help you dive into what exactly the content is and how you get started. The exam objectives are here as well. And you can see here that you need a 70% to pass the exam. There's a maximum of 60 questions. So you may get 50, you may get 55, you may get 60. The reason that there's going to be a maximum of 60 is that we will add additional questions to see how they test out. And they don't count against your score. And the goal is to determine the best questions where they're not too easy, where they're not too hard. And this is typical vendor behavior and typical best practices too with certification programs. Okay, so basically, what is the ideal role that you should probably be in before you take the test? You have at least 1 year in a technical role, and you have some cloud experience. That would be sort of the ideal type of audience. Now, as far as the percentage, so what would be the percentage of the type of questions you're going to get on the exam? Well, the first one would be customer management skills. That would be about 22% of the exam. Sales and engineering skills, or sales engineering skills, would be 48% of the exam. So half of the exam is more technically focused. On the other hand, sales and financial calculation skills would be 30%. Now, for time purposes, I won't go through all this. This is freely available on the website for you to look at what is tested. But I did want to talk about a few things that I think are really important. Customer acquisition, understanding how customers are, a lot of the terms you run into as well. What is a sales opportunity? For example, too, what's a sales team developed around? Like, how is it built? Who manages it? Also, too, what is a trusted advisor? This is a term that you're going to be running into quite a bit. You want to learn how to become a trusted advisor. It's very important. How do you handle objections? A lot of things to really understand here. Also, too, different SaaS tools you may run into, like Salesforce, using whiteboards, all these different things you might run into. Then when it comes to sales engineering, cloud basics is going to be the main focus of this specific domain. However, it does get into as well, how do you respond to procurements, like requests for proposals. Now, here is a different take on, for example, this specific content. There is some content, a very small amount, that is going to test you on federal acquisitions. So this is RFPs for the U.S. federal government. Now, if you're not in the U.S., that's okay. It's a very small amount, and it's not particularly challenging content to learn. But the reason that I put in there is that if you're in the United States, chances are you're going to run into federal procurement opportunities, and you, as a sales professional, an engineer as well, will want to understand what is a high-level workflow of putting together proposals. Something that is just going to be something you're going to have to work someday. All right, and when we get down to domain 3, sales and financial skills. So we want to be able to create value. We want to understand as well how we sell the right solutions to the right customers. When it comes to sales organization structures, very important we understand what the SE and AE ratio is. We understand proposal team structures, sales territories, right? These are terms you're going to run into pretty routinely. And then as far as the importance of the sales cycle, professional services quoting, a lot of things to talk about here. And then metrics, CapEx and OpEx, KPIs, key result areas, a lot of different things. And then what is a deal size? What is a deal's desk, right? These are things you're going to run into. So with that said, that is the objectives. Now, also note as well, when you are ready, and let me go back to the slide deck here, when you're ready to take the course or for that matter, take the exam as well, make sure you understand all the domains, right? This is really important. Now, when I go into the course in more detail, I cover everything in more discussion format. And so I think it's very important that we understand, for example, the workflow of how you interact with customers, how you put together a deal, how you put quotes together, right? These are things that you're going to want to learn. Now, again, as the content states here, you're going to have available the study guide, the exam objectives, and course presentation. So domain number 1 is really focused on customer management and becoming that trusted advisor. And again, I won't cover too much of this for time purposes. The goal, again, is for you to take the course and then take the exam. Now, if you do take the course on Tech Commanders, I do provide support to you. Again, the goal is to help you out. If you don't take the course on Tech Commanders, then it's really up to you to get the answers. I do try to help, of course, but I'm not really there to tutor. Okay, so there's a lot here to talk about. What are, for example, the 5 stages of customer acquisition? We want to know about awareness, appeal, ask, act, and advocacy. A lot of these things you're going to typically, if you go with the vendor, for example, it could be AWS or it could be even Rackspace or a vendor that sells cloud and IT equipment, could be Dimension Data, whoever it is, then you're going to need to know some of the customer acquisition models out there. You're going to need to know some of the best practices, right? So this is really important. We cover all that. A lot of terms to know. I won't cover them for now. For example, what will be the 3 pillars of a great customer engagement? So when you're interacting with customers, it is so important that you are likable. That's probably the number one thing you want to really be. But you also need to be knowledgeable and respectful, and of course, a lot of other things to consider. You want to be that trusted advisor. Now, when it comes to customer engagement, we want to understand when we bring on a customer, we don't want to lose that customer. And if we do lose that customer, that's really a churn. We also need to know, for example, our company's retention rate or CLV. These are metrics that you're going to want to know. What is the customer engagement life cycle? Again, the reach, the acquisition, conversion, and retention and loyalty. Again, all this we cover in the course in more detail. Going to customer events, understanding your buyer. What is your ideal buyer for your company? These are things that we just need to know. Now I'm going to go ahead and skip over some of this, and I want to go over to section 1.2, become a trusted advisor. Okay, so what exactly is a trusted advisor, and why is it so important? Well, when you go into a customer engagement, you want to establish some kind of authority in the sense that you're not really a boss, you're really the go-to person to solve problems. That's what you really want to come off as. And that's really a trusted advisor. You want to be collaborative. You want to be that strategic partner is really the way it's put here. A lot of differences between a trusted advisor and a vendor and a supplier. So it's one thing to work for a vendor and just be representative and just sort of take orders, right? It's another thing to be someone that goes into that relationship and is able to work out issues and solve challenges, provide solutions. So a lot of great benefits of becoming a trusted advisor as well. And again, we could talk for hours about this very important area. So expertise, right? We have to establish expertise as a technical expert. These are things that we want to know. We also need to know how to talk to non-technical audiences like the executives. What are the best practices for that? And then when we get over to, for example, here in the course, we go through reviews, and there's also practice questions available as well. So just, again, take your time going through the course. It is freely available. Now, as far as the content is freely available. The audio and video, if you want to join, feel free. Okay, now resources are available as well. So again, this is available for download as I had shown you on techcommanders.com. Feel free to take charge of that and download it. If you want to take the full course, that is available as well. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up the site here. And if you go over to techcommanders.com, we have the course here, and you go down here and it tells you basically the FAQ items that you probably want to know, right? It's all right here. Why, what, how. Now, when you do pass the certification, you will receive a badge as well as a certificate, a certification acknowledging that you passed. This will be sent from Certifier, and it will have, for example, the certificate ID, date of passing it, etc., all right there. And again, I encourage you again to reach out if you have any questions. Does anyone have any questions? Let me see if anyone here has any. I don't see anything. So, with that said, for those that are interested in taking the exam, as promised, there is a 50% discount for joining this webinar. The code is in the description, so I encourage you to take a look and grab that code. With that said, I want to personally, again, thank you for joining in this short session about the CCPSA. And if I could be of assistance, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. Have a great day.